Good morning, everybody. It's Mike. Happy Monday to everybody.
Good morning,
Mike.
Good
morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike.
Morning.
Everybody alive and breathing and ready to go to work?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited. Full of energy.
Good. Okay, well, let's get your pen and paper out, if you would, please. Or, in that case, take out the trash. Good. All right. So let's begin. Let's start by writing down this thought. Okay. I have to strengthen daily. I have to strengthen daily the link between prospecting and getting what I want from this business. I have to strengthen daily the link between prospecting and getting what I want from this business. There's two issues there. The first issue is really understanding that in a sales business of any type, and as much as most of us don't want to say it, we're in a sales business, we have to understand that the key to selling is talking to people. And talking to people requires prospecting. But the second side of this is achieving what I want from the business. And of course, most of us know the challenge most people have is they never really can decide what it is they want from the business. Now, yes, it's easy to say, I want to do 25 deals. It's easy to say, I want to make $300,000. But that's the superficial side of goal setting. I'll wait till one of you settles down. The other side of goal setting is going beyond the superficial and saying to yourself, okay, if I do 45 deals, if I make 500,000, what is in it for me? What is in it for my family? What is the benefit that I receive from that? So one of the hardest parts of our business is understanding that little tiny link between the fact that I have to be a salesperson and talk to people, and that will help me attain the things I want from this business. The second thought I want you to write down, which is probably one of the hardest parts of our business, and I want you to write it this way. From the time I wake up until noon, from the time I wake up until noon, whatever time you get up and get going in the morning, you get up at 7 o'clock or 7:30 or 4:30, whatever your time of arrival to the world is that day, the time I wake up until noon, I have to be media free. I have to be media free. Probably one of the hardest parts of what I would ever ask you to do is this particular point, being media free, meaning no TV, no radio, no newspapers, no emails, no voicemails, no texting, no tweeting, no blogging, whatever it is you do. You have to stop it completely. And the reason for that is because, as all of you know, the focus required to do your job every day between the time you get up and noon is needs to be much stronger than what it is. The focus required for you to do your job every day between the time you get up and noon needs to be much stronger than it is. And that focus requires that you absolutely keep your mind clear. You keep your mind clean. You keep your mind positive. You keep your mind, away from those things which distract you, pull you off the track, sink you mentally, screw up your mindset, etc. Most of the time, those are going to revolve around your TV, your radio, your newspaper, your email, voicemail, reading somebody's blog, etc., etc. I don't know if any of you have seen that clever ad on TV where the guy's standing on the sidewalk and the pretty girl's standing there, and she makes some comment to him, and he makes a comment back, and he says, "Where did you hear that?" And she said, "Well, I read it on the Internet." And he goes, "Well, you don't actually believe what the Internet says to be true." And she goes, "Well, of course, everything they publish is true." Well, it's a goofy ad, because what we have to understand is that most of the media is designed to trigger in your mind crazy, negative thoughts. That's what media does. That's why you never see the media producing or publishing good news. They want you to be upset. They want you to be traumatized. They want you to be in a state of drama and emotion. That's what media does. Well, if you think about that for a minute, look at the adverse effect that has on your morning. And let's face it, your morning is a reflection of your day. Now think about what I said. Your morning is a reflection of your day. So if you start out with crap in your head, that crap will remain in your head all day long, and it will get worse and worse. So the key then is to really take and make a decision and make a commitment that if you're going to have to be involved in crap all day long, start it after 12 o'clock, okay? The third point I want you to write down. We've talked about this time and time again, but if we're going to have a great finish to this year, this point becomes very important. We have to always know where every deal comes from. We have to always know where every deal comes from. We have to become virtually experts at sourcing our business. And by sourcing our business, I'm referring to the fact that if you have a listing, you can quickly look at the listing and say, that came from a referral, a past client, it was a buyer, it was expired, it was a call-in, it was a walk-in, or whatever the case may be. But you have to become an expert at being able to source your business instantly, because when you can source your business instantly, then you can duplicate it and get another transaction from that same source. But if you can't source your business, then you can't duplicate it and get an additional transaction from that source. So you always need to be able to look at every transaction and say, where did it come from, and know the answer. Because the answer to the question is what will prompt you then to get your next transaction. You shouldn't have transactions, whether it be listings or sales, where you're looking at it and saying, God, that was great. That was lucky. That one kind of fell into my lap. That one kind of just appeared out of nowhere. We really shouldn't have business of that type. Now, you're going to have it now and then, but it certainly should never be a very strong basis for your business, because if it is, then, of course, you're not paying close enough attention to the business that you have. The fourth thought I want you to write down, and I really need you to think about this one carefully, okay? We need to create a very strong pre-prospecting routine. We need to create a very strong pre-prospecting routine. Okay, for example, look at the word routine, okay? Routine does not mean that today you start your day at 8, and tomorrow you start your day at 9, and the next day you start your day at 7:30. That is not a routine, okay? That is called a day in the life of a real estate agent. A routine is where you do the same thing every day, the same way at the same time. And hardest part of real estate is accepting the fact that as an independent contractor, you have to do the same thing the same way every day, the same time. That's the hardest part of the business. So in prospecting, you have to create a routine that gets you ready, excited, motivated, very focused on the prospecting you have to do, okay? So for example, let's put down under your effective prospecting routine, let's put down A, prospecting affirmations. Whether you have 1 or 2 or 3 is not the issue. You should have some prospecting affirmations. Put down B, arrive at the office at the same time every day. Now, obviously, you could be a few minutes one way or the other, but we're referring to the fact that we have to arrive at the office at the same time every day. Put down C, role play enthusiastically as part of your pre-prospecting routine. I really do. I'm always amazed at real estate people who say, I can't believe that you want me to practice 30 minutes every day. And then I think about every other profession that is involved in high productivity who will spend days and weeks and months practicing, and they don't even think that's an issue, and yet you ask a real estate person to prospect 30 minutes a day, and you might think that I've been pulling their teeth out with the pliers one at a time without Novocaine. It's so painful for them. I mean, it fascinates me how almost unprofessional we are in our approach to the business we're in. I wrote down D, get everything prepared quickly as part of your routine. Get everything prepared quickly. Have your pen, your paper, your headset, your phone numbers, etc. Okay? Have everything prepared quickly. And then I wrote down last, make the decision to have fun prospecting. Make the decision to have fun prospecting. Because the truth is, you should have fun. Prospecting should not be drudgery. It should not be a negative. It should not be something that you're going, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this again. It should be something fun because it gets you to the goals you've set. So you look at your prospecting and you look at the rewards of your goals as being the same. Instead of looking at prospecting as being the drudgery of the day. Oh my God, I got to get up and prospect every day. Well, as you heard Michael Phelps say during the Olympics, for 20 years, he got up every morning and jumped in the pool and swam every day for 20 years. It was the only way to get to the goal, which was, of course, to become a gold medalist. Well, each of you should be a gold medalist, which means you've achieved the goal you set, which means that you have to have some fun in the process.
Mike?
Next point, yes, please.
It's Mark Ramey. Maverick shared a thought with me that I've just got hanging in front of me it really sets my mindset wonderfully. And
please.
He had me write this out. This person I am speaking to now is helping me fulfill the dreams I have, ... How can I help them achieve their goal?
It's a great thought. Yeah, it's a great thought. And the truth is, it's the truth, isn't it?
It is, and it makes me feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person you're talking to right now is going to help you achieve the goals you've set. How can I help this person today? That's the name of the game. Good for you. That's great. All right, next major thought I want you to write down. I have to understand why prospecting is at times difficult. I have to understand why at times. Because, see, everybody has little spurts. Okay? You have little moments where all of a sudden, yay, I can't wait to start prospecting. I got 2 appointments today. I love prospecting. Then you go on the 2 appointments the next 2 days, but you forgot to prospect in between. Then you got to start over on the 4th day, and it's a grind again. So we all have to understand why prospecting is at times difficult. Okay? So let's write down some of the reasons why prospecting is at times difficult. Probably the first and most important is I don't get results fast enough. Probably the first and most important, I don't get results fast enough. That is usually the problem. We expect, well, I made 20 contacts today. I didn't even take 1 listing. I mean, grow up, okay? Get a grip here. All right. Second is I have non-productive work habits. I have some non-productive work habits. And boy, if you have non-productive work habits, then doing your prospecting every day is difficult. Because, see, you're one of those on-again, off-again salespeople. As long as you're getting good results, you'll do it, but as soon as you don't, you stop. So that's a non-productive work habit, okay? C, I don't track my numbers. Prospecting is, to me, always difficult for the people who don't track their numbers. Because in tracking your numbers, you get to see results. You get to see a progression. You get to see how things are unfolding for you. And if you don't track your numbers, you can't obviously see exactly what is going on with your business. Or I wrote down D, okay, I don't know what to say. And that should never be the words out of anybody that we work with. They should never come out of anybody we work with's mouth. I don't know what to say. Because we have an abundance of scripts for you to use. So we have to look at the fact that there's going to be times when we don't enjoy it, we don't like it, it's not who we are, it's not my style, and then you revert back and say, okay, why? Because see, if you can identify why something is difficult, then you can create a much faster solution to that particular why. The next point, of course, is one of the ones we've talked about for years, and it's something we have to always keep virtually at the top of our heads. And that is the hardest call we make is many times the first call of the day. The hardest call we make is the first call of the day. The hardest call we make is the first call of the day. And isn't it interesting how often we hope the first call, it goes to voicemail. So we don't. I think I just struck a chord there. Okay, and the reason for that, of course, is that way we don't have to talk to anybody. Okay, I'm always amazed at the level of communication that we have today. I mean, the communication that people use today is getting worse and worse and worse. You know, it's almost like we will do anything we can possibly do to have to avoid talking to people. I've had people actually say to me, well, why can't I just email the listing script to the seller? I've had people ask me this. I said, what? If I just email the script and they answer the questions, then they can just email the contract back. I said, well, why don't you just have your computer then take the commission and you get nothing? Okay? Because the truth is, you know, we're working harder and harder as society to avoid talking to people. And I got to tell you, guys and gals, I had here's the best one I've received so far. If you attended the retreat, as you know, I sent you up the PDF, which was 100% of the notes from the retreat. I had a person say to me, I get a phone call. Hi, Mike, this is so-and-so. I attended the retreat. Great, thanks for being there. I've got a suggestion for you. Great, what is that? Why don't you give us all the notes of the retreat when we walk in the door? And I said, okay, why would I do that? Well, that way we wouldn't have to write anything down. I said, okay, but that way you wouldn't have to be sitting in your chair and be at the retreat either, would you? If I give you 100% of the notes when you arrive, why would you need to be at the retreat? You'd already have all the notes at the retreat. You know what his answer was? Well, it would save us time. I said, you know what? Obviously, you're not an efficiency expert. You're an idiot. Okay? Okay. Well, what we deal with today is the fact that we don't want to talk to people. We want to do everything we possibly can. We'll email, you know, we'll send them a text. I mean, we'll do anything to avoid the issue. Guys and gals, walk into a retail store where you want to buy a product and have nobody speak to you whatsoever. How do you feel about the experience? And the answer is, I wouldn't go back to that store again. Okay? Well, then why would buyers and sellers want to deal with you if you won't speak to them? And the answer is, they obviously won't. Let's go to the next point that I'm going to ask you to write down. You have to make 10 to 12 contacts per hour if you're going to be effective at prospecting. You have to make 10 to 12 contacts per hour. Now, I hear all these stories. Mike, I only make 3 contacts per hour. What are you talking in slow motion? I mean, how are you doing? Watch. Hello. I mean, what the? I mean, how do you dial a phone all day long and talk to 3 contacts per hour? And Mike, I got very involved with a for sale by owner. You got very involved? Were you sleeping with them on the phone? You keep having an affair. Okay? I hope the owner isn't pregnant with your baby after that phone conversation, for God's sakes. Okay?
Didn't take that one.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, how about this? Try following the script. Okay? There's a concept. Because if you follow the scripts, you're going to make 12, 14, 15 contacts per hour. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to write down. Analyze your contacts per hour, and you'll see why you're inefficient. If you analyze your contacts per hour, you'll see why you're inefficient. You know, for example, let's say that, just as an example. Every 40 contacts, you get a listing appointment, okay? But you're only making 40 contacts a week, okay? But you're prospecting 10 hours. You're making 4 contacts per hour. Well, increase that to 8 contacts per hour, and you get 2 appointments. And if you can get 75% of your appointments to sign a contract, and your average commission is $7,000, you're adding $5,000 per week to your income by simply making more contacts. I mean, this isn't brain surgery here, guys and gals. So give that some thought. The next point I want you to write down. Most distractions while prospecting are self-imposed. Most distractions are self-imposed. Meaning, you're going to find a way to keep yourself from doing your job. Well, Mike, I tracked everything I did this morning, and, you know, the assistant came in. It was an emergency. Now, did the assistant have a knife sticking in her thigh when she walked in the door? That would be an emergency. Okay. Did the assistant walk in and say that every listing you have called and canceled that morning? That would be an emergency. But see, the truth is, we allow these things to take place. Okay. And the truth is, most of them, you can just simply put your hand up in a stopping motion, and most of the distractions will stop immediately. You don't have to have your computer on while you're prospecting. You don't have to have your iPad blinking at you. You don't have to have your cell phone, you know, staring you in the face with a text coming at you. You don't have to do these things. These are self-imposed. So when we recognize they're self-imposed, we can then do something about them. And then the last thought I want you to write down, okay? Prospecting is a simple process, but it's not easy. Prospecting is a simple process, but it's not easy. Yet, it is the only way to make my business grow. Prospecting is a simple process, yet it's not easy. Yet it's the only way to make my business grow. There's really, we have some clients that we work with. I've got a coaching client I'm working with right now that spends $75,000 a month on marketing. Picture those coaching calls with Mike Ferry, okay? A client that spends $75,000 a month on marketing. As a client makes $2.5 million a year, the $75,000 a month is right around $900,000 a year on marketing. This person spends more on marketing than most people would ever make. Now, what's interesting is I have the good fortune of coaching this person, and the person is very open to the fact that, gosh, if we cut the $700,000 to $900,000 of marketing back to $100,000, and I spend some time prospecting, I can put that additional money in my pocket. Well, that's a very difficult transition because this person has been in the business 8 years and has committed that kind of money to marketing every year for 8 years. They don't even know what you guys and gals know. It's not easy, okay? But it's critically important that you understand the process of building a business. The only way to build a business is to have people that you're talking to somehow respond to what it is you're trying to accomplish. So with that said, and we only have a few minutes left on our call today, questions about anything we've discussed so far today? Questions at all?
Yes, I have on tracking the numbers. I'm just really new at this because this is only like my third or fourth week with you, Mike. And once again, go over it quickly if you can about tracking the numbers for me.
Okay. So I assume you're not in coaching, correct?
No, just on the Mondays with Mike.
Okay. So what I would like you to do is send an email to my assistant, Anna.
Okay.
And then we'll send you 3 or 4 simple tracking forms to use. The majority of the people on this call, fortunately, are in our coaching. So we have a numbers analyzer that they get to use to track their numbers. And, of course, the catch is trying to get the people on this call to use the numbers analyzer, meaning, tracking your numbers so you can see exactly what you're doing. How many contacts you're making per hour, how many contacts per day, how many leads you're generating, how many appointments you're going on, how many of those appointments are you converting, etc. So send a note to Anna, and we'll email you a copy of 2 or 3 of the tracking forms.
All right.
So you can start into the habit. No, that's great. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. Questions, comments at all from anybody on this call?
Mike, you said you send the PDF there for the Superstar Retreat to all the one-on-one?
No. I said I sent the PDF of the retreat to all the people that attended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I assume, Tony, you're going to the one in Miami, correct?
That's correct. Thank you, Mike.
Good. Sure, of course. So after the retreat, Tony, we'll then send you, as all the attendees of my retreat, the PDF of all my notes. So you'll have a complete notebook just like I have.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, that's my pleasure. But, Tony,
yes.
that doesn't mean you can't show up.
No, I'll be there.
I know
it's
you
my
will.
pleasure to be there.
We know you will. That's for darn sure. Okay, no, here's an interesting thought for you. I had all of our coaches the last week make a list of every client that is either going to Miami or went to the program in Las Vegas. And going through the list last night of all of our coaching clients, I was surprised to see still about 25% of all of our coaching clients that are not going to the retreat this year. Interesting, isn't it? I hope that you're not one of those people, because you're certainly missing a lot by not attending. Now, I can understand the emergency. Your assistant stabbed herself in the leg with a letter opener, and you can't come. And most of your assistants are going to do that both in July and October. Okay, so they're and if they do, you probably need a new assistant. What the heck? Well, let's make this week a great week. We have a couple weeks left in the month of August, and then of course we're going to have a tremendous push, which we're going to do September, October, November, December, like we did last year. But most of you remember last year, for the majority of all of our great clients like yourself, the last 4 months of the year was some of the best months they had all year because we pushed so hard, and that carried forward for all of you into the first quarter of the next year. So looking backwards now, it seems that a majority of all of our clients have had the greatest 12 months they've ever experienced in their life, and that's only because you're alive, you're excited, you're full of energy, you're paying attention, and you're working. So let's go to work today, and I will look forward to talking to all of you throughout the course of the week. Have some fun.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye, everybody.